Okay, so let's look at problem number 29. It is y equals x divided by the square root of x squared plus 1. And we're asked to find the derivative of the function. The first thing that I would do here is I would convert my denominator into a form that actually has a fractional exponent instead of just leaving it as the root. So I'm just going to, over to the side, write it as, this is the way that I'm going to view this problem, as it's going to be x squared plus 1 to the 1/2. This is going to be more helpful when we're doing our derivatives. So if we take our derivative, we have to use the quotient rule here. So our quotient rule says that we take the denominator, which is x squared plus 1 to the 1/2, multiplied by the derivative of our numerator, which the derivative of our numerator is just 1, because that's the derivative of x. And then we subtract our numerator, which is x, multiplied by the derivative of our denominator. So for this, we have to use the chain rule. So our chain rule, we're going to take our exponent, 1/2, move that up front, and we are going to multiply by the original base with our exponent taken down by 1. So 1/2 minus 1 is going to be negative 1/2. And then on the very end, I have to multiply by the derivative of the inside. And the derivative of the inside is just 2x. So that is my unsimplified numerator. And then the denominator is going to be just x squared plus 1. Because I'm actually going to square my denominator during this, so it goes from a square root to a square. So now I need to do some simplifying. So when I simplify this, my first term here just is going to still be x squared plus 1 to the 1/2. And I want to combine some things in my in my second term. So I've got an x here, and a 2x here, and a half. Okay? So I've got 1/2 x times 2x. So the 1/2 and the 2 cancel, and then the 2x's become x squared. So it'll start with minus x squared, and then I input my the rest of my function, x squared plus 1 to the negative 1/2. Okay, so that's a more simplified numerator than before. So then I'm going to divide that by x squared plus 1. Okay, so thus far I have these three values here, and what I want to do is I'm actually going to want to factor the top of my function. And when I factor the top of my function, it's gonna make things a lot cleaner. What you need to be aware of here is that on both on top here, or excuse me, on both terms, you have x squared plus 1. To the left, you have the 1 to the 1/2. To the right, you have 1 to the negative 1/2. So when you factor, okay, you always want to take out the lesser one, okay, because the smaller factor is always in the larger one, okay? So the smaller one is always in the larger one. So I'm going to use this right over here. So I'm going to set this up equals, okay? And so I'm going to take out an x squared plus 1 to the negative 1/2, okay? So that's taking care of a few things for me already. If I then decide to multiply, over here I have exactly 1 x squared plus 1 left. The difference between 1/2 and negative 1/2 is 1. Okay? So remember, when I multiply things with the same base and different exponents, I add them. So in order to make this work, this will become an x squared plus 1. Okay? So this times this gives me that. Okay? Because they're both x squared plus 1s. One of them's to the first power, one of them's to the negative 1/2 power. When I add those, I get the regular 1/2. Okay? So now that I have that, so this is represented in my original in my my factored out part there. So that is just a 1. So all that's left is just an x squared. So minus x squared. And then this is going to be divided by x squared plus 1. Okay? So now I'm going to, what I'm going to do on this next slide is I'm going to show that this down here is x squared plus 1 to the first. Up here on the top, this is x squared plus 1 to the negative 1/2. So if I move this one to the denominator, I have to subtract it away from 1. Okay? I need to subtract negative 1/2 from 1. So what I'm going to get on my denominator is going to be x squared plus 1 to the 1 plus 1/2. Remember, because I'm taking away a negative 1/2. So this will be to the 3/2. And then this section over here is going to simplify to make just a 1, because I have an x squared plus 1 minus x squared. So I'm just left with 1. So this would be an answer that you could use. This could also be the same as x squared plus 1 to the negative 3/2 if you didn't want to write it as a fraction. But this would work as your final answer.